This is HK Army's second high-end paintball mask. The first one was the KLR. You know, I wasn't really a fan of the KLR. I felt like the overall build quality of the KLR was a little bit suspect sometimes, and definitely that ventilation and breathability on the KLR was terrible. I mean, you can look at the front of the thing and they just are not very breathable. I mean, it might have like technically a lot of vent holes, but look at those holes. They're all small kind of slits and just covered over. So ventilation on the KLR was absolutely awful. So my hope when we saw the SLR was that it was going to be much more breathable. And you can really tell that things going to be more breathable right away. I mean, those ventilation holes, while it might have like, you know, the same number of vent holes as the KLR, those holes are much larger and moving in and air out is just very, very easy. I mean, it's going to be one of the better ventilated masks, I think, on the market. I think out of all the high-end, like more modern style masks like this SLR, I think that probably the CMD, the Push Unite, and this SLR probably all have very similar breathability, but I think maybe like that CMD and this SLR probably have the best ventilation of those three. But I still think that on the market right now, that old school JT ProFlex or the Empire ProFlex or the Empire eFlex, I'm sorry, with all of those crazy huge ventilation holes on the bottom are still the most breathable masks out there. So while like the SLR is leaps and bounds better, I think, than the KLR, it still doesn't really like hold a candle or is still not performing as good as those ProFlexes or eFlexes still are. So me personally, you know, I'm still using ProFlex. When comparing that SLR directly to the old mask, the KLR, you can see they've actually increased the size a little bit. And I wouldn't say it's dramatically larger, like you wouldn't pick this mask up and think it was big, but it's maybe like, I don't know, 15 to 20% larger than that KLR, which I really like. The KLR was a very small mask, and I wouldn't say very big person, but a big person. So I kind of like a little bit larger style mask. And I think that most people are. So they're going away from that really small size and then stepping it up a little bit with the SLR. I think the SLR is very comfortable too. One of the things that I kind of like about these is how they've gone away from those ears. I'm a big fan of these like complete, just one piece masks where you can't remove a lot of the pieces. It's kind of a simpler, cheaper design. We really saw them on masks a long time ago. The V-Force Grill and the Profiler are also like this, and they're masks that are, you know, 10, 15 years old now. But now we saw this with the CMD kind of bringing that back, and then now with the HK Army SLR going with that whole big single piece and getting away from those ears, I really like. I think that adds to the overall kind of like rigidity and quality of the masks, and I also think it just makes the thing a little bit more comfortable just because it's a little more simpler.
Taylor in the back corner bunker. Oh, the referees are all converging. It looks like the goggles have fallen off.
And because of that, and because of Trevor Reeser, we are all required to wear chin straps now. And these come with a very nice chin strap. The actual same chin strap we saw first on the Push Unite, the clip lock like magnetic chin straps. These are very nice, very easy to put together. They're easy to take off and just very well made. So a magnet on the inside of there kind of helps attract and keep this thing closed. And you can only really slide it off or unclip the thing by sliding it in one direction. So it could technically come undone a little bit easier than maybe the clip style locks, you know, with the traditional clipping, I don't know, closure latches things. But you'd have to like hit it just right. And I'd say these are very safe, as we've seen them on a lot of things, right? I mean, Push have been using them for a number of years now. Snowboard masks or snowboard goggles, nope. Snowboard helmets use them. Maybe they could use them on goggles, but snowboard goggles don't have chin straps, so maybe just on helmets and other helmets. So they're cool. Taking out lenses on the SLR is also kind of going to be similar to that KLR. So on the inside, they kind of have this button that you press, you slide the strap forward. That part's very easy. And on the outside, they have this little piece you're supposed to like pry off a little bit. I don't like this. I feel like peeling or like trying to pull this piece off. It's a little bit sketchy, and I feel like these little pieces of plastic over time, just removing this outside piece, could kind of wear off. But that's the thing too, you're not really like removing lenses all that often, at least I'm not. Most of the time when I'm removing a lens from a mask, it's when I'm replacing the lens, which is, you know, only really a couple times over the whole lifetime of the mask. So while I feel like this little area might not be as like sturdy or something like that. I don't really feel like it's going to be problems. I certainly like this design. It's a little bit quicker and much easier to use in the KLR. They had like this crazy hinge thing on the outside. I didn't really like that. This is a little nicer, I think. They're using the same lenses too, so SLR lens, KLR lens are the same thing. You can also take out the foam and replace that foam easy too. So foam just kind of snaps out, very, very simple. So replacing that and getting like replacement foam, is really simple. But this also has that kind of like same style plastic that outside like mask tab has. So I feel like over time, if you're gonna take these out to like clean the foam, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd leave the foam in the mask to clean it and only really remove the foam if you're going to replace it, because I kind of feel like this could be a wearing spot if you're like removing the foam every time you play paintball. Just leave it in there and replace it only if you're going to change the foam. Also helping that thing secure on your head is the mask strap in the new CTX strap. So I like these. It's really just a normal goggle strap that they added this little pad or insert onto. I really like these. We first saw these really on the Dye i5 a number of years ago. It's just kind of nice. It helps just keep that thing secure on your head, adds a little bit more surface area, and just, I don't know, I just like them. It's not like huge and crazy and innovative really, but it's just a very nice thing to have. I mean, you can get these and buy these for other masks for 15 bucks. I like them. So overall, I think they've done a good job with the SLR, right? They've kind of like looked at all of the problems that the KLR had and really tried to address them. Like, I didn't really like the size of the KLR, so I like how they made it larger. And ventilation was hands down the worst part. So they increased the ventilation a lot, making the mask much more breathable, making it cooler, and just really, I think, more usable for more people. So overall, SLR, yeah, it's a good mask. I wouldn't say it's a super good deal. It's almost $200, but all the other high-end masks are too, right? Whether you want like the Dye i5, a CMD from Bunker Kings, or want to push Unite, they're all in at that $200 price. It's not the best value. I think that there's probably better masks that are better values, like the Virtue Ascend's a better value, I think. Personally, I'd rather have the JT ProFlex. I mean, those are only like 75 bucks. So there's a lot of good masks out there, and the SLR just kind of adds to it. We'll like leave this as like final thoughts or something like that. But there's a lot of people out there that just like talk so much shit about all these companies that like use other ideas from other companies and like create one good product for us, right? So like HK Army, for example, I think used a lot of ideas from a lot of other manufacturers, right? So a lot of people are saying that this mask looks a lot like the CMD from Bunker King because it's that like all one piece design. And then everyone's hating on them for using that back strap that Dye first used and then Virtue used. And then there's that magnetic chin strap that we first saw on the push masks. So like, yeah, they're taking a lot of those ideas from other manufacturers, but like in the end, as customers, we're kind of left with a better product, right? Like they're taking all the good things from all these other companies and kind of just making one thing. So that's good for me, right? I can see how it feels like they're like copying and stealing stuff. But like, okay, like, I don't know, like sure, morally that might not be the greatest thing, but as like a consumer, like, most of the time I'm just worried about like what's the best product and the best value and all those stuff or all those things. So I don't know. It's a very good paintball mask,